Welcome to our podcast, Unblur the Path, an initiative by Mummy Kahani Sunao. This is a space where we meet one guest at a time and listen to real story behind their career journey. Together, we'll travel back to their student days, discovering how they chose their profession, what their college life was like, how they stepped into their very first job, and the path their career has taken since then. Through these heartfelt conversations, we don't just hear about their careers, we gain first hand insights into what it really means to walk down each career path. Today's guest is Swati Srivastava. She's currently working as a Scrum Master and Project Manager in an IT organization, though her career began in human resources 17 years ago. Over the years, she has taken on diverse roles including HR generalist, bench manager, immigration specialist, PMO, project manager, and now Scrum Master, adapting with every new opportunity and phase of growth. Married for 16 years, Swati now lives in London with her husband and 11-year-old daughter. With her HR specialization as the foundation, she has steadily evolved her career and is currently exploring new ways of managing and delivering projects in her Scrum Master role. Before we dive in, I have a small request. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot and helps us keep sharing these real stories and career journeys with you. Hi Swati, welcome to Unblur the Path. How is your day today?
Hi Lakshmi, thank you for having me here. I think I'm a little nervous, but otherwise the day has been good.
Oh, great. But it would be an interesting conversation, I hope. So let's begin?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Let me take you back to the times when you were in school. And I hope this whole conversation will be a nostalgic one. So, when you were deciding to take up a career, I don't know which year that was, and you'll have to tell me that. How did you basically decide the career you were wanting to take?
Okay, so I think the time is right, or when you start thinking is when usually you finish with your 10th boards, right? Before that, you are studying all the subject, and 10th comes at the point where you decide whether you take science, arts, or commerce. So there were a lot of factors. One was I wasn't very good with science. I wasn't very good with numbers. So, and looking at the chemistry and physics books that were there for 11th, 12th, I thought, maybe this isn't a part that I want to go ahead with.
Right.
And then came with the arts. We never had arts in our school. So we only had two subjects.
Okay.
We had majors in commerce or we had in science.
Okay.
So I chose commerce. I thought I would be able to do a decent job in accounts, in business studies. To an extent, I thought even CA. So that what led me choose commerce over science. The choice was very simple.
Okay.
I found that more comforting, and that is why I chose commerce.
Okay, that's good to know. Were you this clear when you were making the choice, or were there any external influences like your parents, like relatives, or your friends?
I think when I made the choice that I want to pursue with commerce, my parents were very happy with the choice and they also supported me. However, I did have a little pressure from outside to take up science because that opened a lot more avenues, a lot more career choices as they thought, which was not there as when you chose commerce. So earlier in days, either you were a doctor or you were a CA or you were an engineer, right? So those were the choices, and engineer was looked more as a prominent than as a commerce. But I was very clear that this is what I wanted to do and I would be able to do better than I would have done in science.
So yeah, it was a clear thinking at that point in time which helped you make this decision.
Yes, it did.
So once you decided to be on the commerce side of studying, what was your first thought process in terms of taking up as a graduation study? Like in commerce, what did you want to go forward with? Whether it was CA, whether it was BBA, MBA combination that you actually did, or whether it was any other thing?
There was another thing when I took commerce, I started with it. I opted out of maths.
Okay.
That was again a decision I made mid of my 11th standard.
Okay.
Again, my numbers, I was not very good. with the numbers, and my scores were not helping. I did try tuition, but something was not adding up.
Okay.
So I did not want myself struggle too much,
Mm-hmm.
or rather get myself into a pressure, because I knew there are things that were out of my reach. I would not be able to do well,
Okay.
and I didn't want to come to that pressure.
Okay.
I didn't want to take that. So I opted to move out of that, and I
Okay.
chose fine arts.
Mm-hmm.
So then my choices were accounts and economics.
Right.
Both the subjects were something I was very happy, and I really looked forward to it.
Okay.
Additionally, we also had business studies and international business as well.
Okay.
So my path to choose BBA and MBA thereafter came from there as well.
Okay.
Right. The CA preparations that were there, I was very clear from starting that I wanted to start on job early.
Okay.
Right. I wanted to go on. But with CA, that path was longer.
Oh, okay.
Right. The studies and the preparation, then the final exams, and then you land up in a job was a long train.
Longer path in case of
longer
CA.
time. I wanted to shorten that. I
Okay.
wanted to get in job,
Okay.
quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was okay. I don't feel guilty of not choosing. It was not about difficult, but I was very clear on few things of how I wanted.
Right.
And I chose BBA
Okay.
and
MBA comment.
thereafter,
Okay.
because I wanted to get into that
Okay.
earlier.
That's very interesting, Swati, because it looks like you had quite a bit of clarity in your head, which is coming across right away. That even as a young girl, you had a lot of clarity of why you're choosing which subject and how you're going to make the best out of it. So that's coming across very clearly. What I would like to ask you next, so was there a preparation that was required to get into the college that you were aiming for?
Yes, so there were exams that we had to go through, like a preparatory exam or entrance exam. And for my BBA, I had given an entrance exam. To get into the college, I had to give a written exam, which was basically on analytical skills. Then we had a group discussion, and then we had a personal interview.
Okay.
So there were 3 rounds to get through.
Okay, so how did you prepare for it? Did you go for any extra classes for preparing for these kind of exams, GD and PI, or did you prepare on your own?
I did prepare on my own. I
Okay.
sat with my dad, and we searched on what is current affairs, right? What is that is common, and then I searched a bit on net. At that time, you did not have too many topics,
Correct.
but in general, you were aware, right? By the time you were in 12th, school also started to prepare you for a lot of interviews that you would do for your college.
Right.
So there were some sessions that were held in school,
Right.
and there were some sessions that I did at home with my parents.
Okay.
So and for interview, very frankly, my preparation was very basic. Tell us something about yourself, and maybe something about the subject. When somebody said, what's your favorite subject? So something on accounts or economics,
Right.
that can come up as a basic question. That is what my preparation was.
Okay. So if I may ask, how much time would you devote other than your school studies and everything in 11th, 12th? Because we are talking about your graduation courses right now. So most of your 11th, 12th, you must have devoted some time to prepare for this. On an average, how much time did you spend on a day?
I think 1 to 2 hours specifically for analytical skill exam, because that was something new, right? I knew my course subject, I could have prepared that easily, but I was not ready for an analytical exam. So for that, we had got books.
Okay.
You got these books from your local market you could get, and which would prepare you for these exams.
Right.
So from there were multiple question exams. They were not open-ended questions.
Right.
So there were multiple choice. So for that, you have to study a little bit. So maybe 1 hour or 1.5 hours. In a week, probably 4 times would be good enough.
Okay.
That is how much I prepared.
Okay.
Yes.
That looks very interesting. What was your thought process during those times in terms of your emotional thought process, or, the kind of efforts you were putting in, or whether, did you have a backup plan? If this didn't crack through, what would you do? Did you have any of these thought processes running in your head?
So I grew up in Delhi, right? We had one famous university as Delhi University. I've done from Amity.
Okay.
So I gave this exam for Amity before my board results came out.
Okay.
Right. So I had prepared for that. And of course, the backup was there that I would then go for a BB course in BCom honors.
Okay.
In the DU universities. We had listed down
Okay.
universities both in South and North Campus.
Okay.
And if I didn't get through here, I would go through there and then appear for the exam. But it also depended upon my cutoff that I would have got. Of course, there was a cutoff here as well. They were expected, I think, 75 or 70%. But in Delhi University, the cutoff was higher for specific colleges that I wanted to go for.
Right.
They were, and if you didn't get through, you probably wouldn't go through the college that you wanted to. You'll have to choose another one.
Okay.
So, and luckily, I did get through in Amity before my 12th board exams even came.
Okay.
So that was kind of good. But of course, they had to again scrutinize on the basis of your result that you would have.
In the 12th boards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So, did you study staying at home, or did you actually go to a hostel to stay for your college studies?
No, I've always been
at home.
I've never stepped out in a hostel. I've never stayed. So I think I was. My family was also. I was also prepared to always stay at home. I don't know if I was really ready to go out on a hostel, and I think my parents were a little anxious on that term as well.
Okay, so let's jump to your college life. Preparation looks a very interesting journey with your thought clarity, and of course, your preparations were spot on. So you got through the college that you wanted to get into. How was your college life in terms of, first, of course, fun? Secondly, how did the college training look like? And I'll drill down further, but let's start with these two.
Okay, I think I've had the best college life that one can. I had a very good bunch of friends, very good teacher, very good campus facilities. So all of that was great. And I think my college really did prepare me for the corporate life that comes with us.
Okay.
In terms of how we dress, what time we reach, how we present, right? How we presented our course in the class, how we submitted our assignments. They were very particular.
Okay.
They were particular to an extent that if I wore jeans from any day between Monday to Thursday, they would ask us to leave the class. We were not allowed. They were very strict that Monday to Thursday is your formals, and it's only the Friday that you could come in casuals, and which also had a very strict guideline as to how you would behave in a corporate. So that came very handy.
Okay.
Then the PPTs, the presentations. I had never worked on PPTs, and working in college was an eye-opener.
Right.
Of course, you don't go to a detail that you present in a corporate, but you learn a lot, right? How to prepare that, how to present that in a class of 60 students. And then you have the grilling session again, they ask questions and you need to answer. So I think my college did a fab job there.
Preparing you for your corporate life. Wonderful. Could you highlight some of the subjects that you really enjoyed during your college life?
I enjoyed economics.
Okay.
I always did. I enjoyed international business.
Okay.
I also enjoyed marketing. So I think these were the three subjects.
Key subjects that you enjoyed. What is that skill that you think helped you sail through the college life that kept you hooked onto the scores that you had actually picked up? So is there any skill that you think, I've heard from many, just to give you an example, I've heard from few of my friends saying that some of the students could not pull through the entire studies because they could not live up to the pressure, they could not handle the pressure, and they just pulled out of college. Did you see, first of all, anyone pull out of your college because of the pressure or they couldn't live up with the skill set that was required? Or also, if you can highlight some skill sets that might be required to handle BBA, MBA course that you did?
I don't remember anybody pulling out.
Okay.
Everybody who went through the course completed it.
Okay.
And I think before I come to the skill, there was one big motivation. Everybody knew that if your score, we had CGPAs out of 10. Everybody knew if your CGPA is less than 7, you wouldn't be allowed to sit in a campus placement.
Okay.
That, for a lot of students, was a big push.
Okay.
It was for us as well to maintain the scores.
Okay.
No, you can have as much as fun, right? But we were always very clear that we can't go beyond that. Even to the extent of bunking classes, we had 75% mandatory attendance. So we made sure that even if we missed 25, we were there for 75 because our school actually did not allow students to sit for the exam.
Right.
All of these were the back pressures, or you can say the push that kept us on edge.
Right.
And I think the skill which helped was just a regular study.
Okay.
Just every other day, at least twice or thrice. In college, you don't study every day.
Right.
You don't do that. You've got a lot of fun and, excitement going on. You don't do that. But just a regularity, just to brush up, make sure you're doing your assignments. make sure you understand what you're studying.
Right.
If you do that on every other day or a daily, or when you're in the class, if you're a little attentive, I think it serves.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that helps.
It helps.
Were there any moments of doubt or, kind of pressure which made you think whether you have made the right choice to be here? Or it was always like, this is how it's supposed to be. It was my decision. I'm happy to be here. And you sailed through it.
Like I said, I was very clear from starting.
Okay.
That this is what I wanted to do. Though at the end, I was a little doubtful of what stream I should choose in specialization, whether I should take finance, marketing, or HR. There was a confusion there. But there was never, I was never doubtful of the stream that I have chosen, that I wanted to be BMBA and I wanted to do commerce. I was always clear and I was very happy with that.
Okay. So what did you choose and what were your driving factors as your specialization?
I chose HR.
Okay.
See, I did catch up with my cousins, with my friends who were a little elder, or my knowns who had taken up marketing or who had taken up HR, right? Marketing job, when you start from the street.
Right.
Right. It's a purely sales job. You need to do that.
Yeah, just to learn the trade.
You just learn the trade. Very frankly, I don't think, and first I thought I did not have that personality to pull that off. And I still am a little not very, I would say, extrovert to do that. I'm still an introvert.
Okay.
And that was a reason. And I did see how marketing phase went. We went through a session and I really did not think that that suited my personality and the drive that I wanted to do.
Okay.
And like I said, I was never good with numbers, so I did not go for finance. I did not want to mess up anything when it comes to the corporate world.
Right.
So I thought HR was a good choice.
Right. I get your point here. That definitely brings out a point that before choosing any career, a kid and kids' parents also can contribute, should help the kid understand themselves very well as well. If the kid doesn't have the clarity, the parents can pitch in. But if the kid has this kind of clarity of thought and understands himself or herself, that what I can pull off and what I can't pull off as a personality, I think a personality analysis might help in such kind of detailed analysis of what I can possibly do or what I can't possibly do. And talking to your seniors or your cousins who are working in the same field might also help. So that's a good takeaway from this conversation. You have already mentioned that your college has prepared you very well for the corporate life. Well, your college life seems to be interesting with a lot of help from the college. What I would like to know next is, how did you land your first job?
I had given campus placement, right? I had my first official confirmation did come from campus, and I went through there. I did not really take that up, right? I did not like the company where I joined.
Okay.
It was a recruitment firm, and I did not enjoy how they had actually made the organization feel. Okay. Though it was new, I have seen a very different corporate life from what my father, where he was. Right?
Okay.
I have seen a very big and a very inclusive, vast corporate life, how they function. I've seen how they operate. And I was expecting something. And this was absolutely opposite to it. It was a one-room company. Okay. And that did not sit well with me. I did not want to start so small, very frankly. And I decided this is not what I want.
Okay.
So I took that back. And then I did try a couple of other interviews where I couldn't get through the final round. So then I requested my dad to check if there are any vacancies in the organization that he's working.
Okay.
And there was in the HR space. They were looking for somebody specifically for campus recruitment.
Okay.
And that is where I went through the interview and I got that.
You cracked it. How was the interview process? Were there any exams before you sat for the interview, or directly you applied and you were called in for the interview?
So there were 2 rounds.
Okay.
One was with the GM, the HR head.
Okay.
No, one was with the GM HR and one was with the overall HR head. So there were 2 rounds. Okay. There was no written test. There were just general interviews of about 20 minutes each.
Okay.
And then they had sent the offer.
Okay. And once you were in, it must have been a very exciting moment for you, getting your job that you liked. Were you given any on-the-job training, or were you just asked to start doing with certain instructions?
No, so they did give us, a background of how they performed. So there were two parts that I was playing. Of course, I was hired for campus recruitment, and also general recruitment that the company did for their projects, right? So there they explained to us what kind of roles they were hiring,
Right.
what were the skills that we needed to look. So again, Naukri.com and all of these portals, that is where we used to scan. So how do you find the right candidate, right?
Okay.
We were given access to that train and how to speak to the candidate, how do you introduce themselves, and how do you identify that whether a person was interested or not, right?
Okay.
So they gave us a training on that.
Okay.
And then initially when we started with the calls, they sat through with us, right?
Okay.
And they helped us identify whether we were doing the right thing or not. And then it flowed. But and then there were campus placement. Initially, I think for the first 3 campus houses, my senior did went for me, right? We would prepare written tests. There were written tests, and there was JD. Then there was PI interview. So we had to prepare all the documents, get everything ready with us.
Okay.
So we prepared for that. So there, the company, for the 3 rounds of 3 companies, 3 campus placements, my senior was there. But thereafter, I was allowed to handle it
on your own.
On my own. I think I was one of the youngest HR that went, and in a lot of campuses.
Oh, yes. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Can you describe your day's job in your initial years? Like, let's talk about your first year. Once you're trained, once you are, given the role to be handled yourself, how did your day look like? Just to give our young listeners an understanding of how a young HR's day looked like.
Okay, so again, I'll split it into 2. I was, because I also had a travel job. I was traveling across India, so there were times that I was away, mostly for about 3 days in a week during this campus drives.
Right.
Otherwise, I was in the office. So my day started very early. I used to leave by 7 o'clock in the morning because my office was really far. It was about 45 kilometers. So I had to reach office by 8:30. So I would start at 7. Reach there by 8:30. And we had a quite big team. So the whole HR team used to sit together.
Right.
There was a team for recruitment, then there for payroll, then there was for training and development, and all of us sat together in one area. And then we would, mostly start of the week, we would get to know what is that we are hiring for, which project, what location, and how many people do we need. There was a meeting that was held by the GM, and he would give us the requirement. And,
right.
Because it was initial time, we were given targets that at least, you should provide us with so many profiles, right? And suitable ones,
right.
not just one. So that was how, and then we would start with calling up the candidate, telling them about that this is a requirement they have, and if they would be interested, and then asking the further questions, and putting at the end of putting those profiles in front of our GM, and then from there they would take them through the technical round.
Okay.
Right, and then if he was happy with the profiles, then he would let us know who is the technical team we need to reach out to. We would share the profiles to them, make sure that the interviews happen.
Okay.
Right. On the set date and the set time, and then take the feedback, right? And if all the rounds have been completed, actually, I was part of a construction company, right? EPC company. They are the core companies that you say. So there, the process was fairly quite quick. So if I've shortlisted a profile today, in the same week, they would finish with the technical interviews because the requirement there were very quick and they were very urgent.
Okay.
Right. So they would fill up the places quite quick. They completed the process at least very
quickly.
So by the end of the week, I would get the offer letter signed and it was sent to the candidate.
That's pretty quick.
Quick. And on the days that I was traveling, well, the preparation there was a little more because we had signed up with a team who used to prepare the first round of interview, a written test for candidates, which was a multiple choice.
Right.
So we had given them that task. So coordinating with them, letting them know whether we are going to a polytechnic, whether we are going to an NIT, what kind of colleges that we are going, and what kind of subject is that the streams are, whether it's a mechanical, civil, because our company hired through all the streams.
Right.
So letting them know, and then preparing topics for JD that came into my hand. Then putting out all the sheets for the interview. So we had these sheets where we had to note down the comments of the HR, and the technical interview, it should have had your exam paper stapled. So all of it had to come together. So for that, we did a preparation. And then we were used to be about 3 people go together for a campus. 1 HR, that was me.
Okay.
And 2 technical people.
Okay.
Who used to travel.
Okay.
So, and then you reach to the campus, you meet the students, you do make the presentation. Yes, presentation was another part. We had prepared a presentation. Of course, the corporate was involved in the corporate communication who helped us draft all of it together.
Okay.
But I used to present that to the students, answer their questions
Right.
on what is expected
Mm-hmm.
And what is not expected.
Right.
Making that clear before we started with the process. And then taking them through each step. And and finally at the end we used to close the day. Probably sometimes it used to be a longer days until 2 o'clock in the morning because we wanted to complete the whole process. And depending on the number of students that applied for those positions.
So the time depended on that.
Dependent on that.
Okay.
Yes.
And these were your early years.
Yes.
How would you rate your work-life balance? Or did you believe giving enough time to the work because you're still learning and still, trying to gather every information to make yourself a better personnel to work in the organization that you are in? Did you believe in working extra hours to get things done? Even after that, there could be a work-life balance. So can you shed a light on that?
I have taken that from my dad and learned it from my dad. My dad retired as head of telecom.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He has engaged with a lot of people, and I have always seen him signing off at 5.
Okay.
He has never extended even a minute extra in the office. I have never seen him coming home late, unless until he was at a site where he was doing the work with his hand.
Right.
Otherwise, if he's in the corporate office, he was back. And he always told me, work continues. Work never stops.
Right.
There's nobody who can stop the work. Right. If you are not there today, somebody else will do it. So don't worry about that. Yes, when you are working, give yourself 100%. But beyond a time, step back and let it flow. So I took that seriously.
Okay.
I was always okay. My one thing was very clear, that I wanted to complete my day on time.
Okay.
Right? If there was once or twice required an extension, of course I would do that. But I did not want to make that as a habit.
Right.
And I think in last 15 plus years, I've never made that as a habit.
Okay.
Even today, I sign off at time. I enter at time, I sign off at time. Of course, there are days when you extend, everybody does, and you take that happily.
Okay.
But otherwise, I've not made it as a habit.
Oh, okay. If I may ask this question, when you stayed with your parents, the salary that you drew, I don't need to know the numbers, but was it enough, keeping away, if you can do a quick calculation in your head, keeping away what your parents contributed? You stayed with your parents, so you're not paying the rent, of course. You're not even paying for the food. But if you could just put yourself in a position and think, was your first year's salary was good enough to take care of you had you not stayed with your parents? All I want to understand is, how does this job help you sustain yourself even in the first year, right after college?
So I would say in the first year, staying all by myself, if I was in another city paying up the rent, would have been difficult. I would have to go on sharing basis.
Okay.
That is what I think. Otherwise, I would have stretched too much, cut down on my basics that I think are basic. But yes, it would have been tough on what I started off.
Okay.
It wasn't that bad, but yeah, I think.
You could have managed though.
Yes, I would have managed, but if I was staying alone, it would have been really cut to cut.
Cut to cut.
Yes.
Okay, I get that point. What skills did you think sailed you through your first 2 years of your job? Besides everything that you've mentioned, is there any soft skill that you think, besides skills like communication, which came across, it also came across that you had to talk to many peers and professionals, whether in the company or outside, like students, college authorities, and such. But is there any other skill that you think was really, really required for you to, enjoy the job, or sometimes in tougher situations, pull yourself up and move forward?
I'll give you an example for this. When I started to go as independent HR, I was very young. I was barely 23. I did have an objection from a few seniors, right? And in one of my campus recruitment, they came with me. I was fully prepared of how I had to present, of the questions that they may ask me, of the process that I was running. So what I made sure that I knew everything inside out. I did everything on my own, right? I did not take anything from given by somebody else. If they had given me something, I had read in and out of that.
Okay.
And I think that helps.
Okay.
Whatever you get into initially, try to do it with yourself. Do it with your hand. When you do something with your own hand, with your understanding, you're able to present better. You're more confident rather than just reading something which you have been given on paper.
Right.
And if somebody questions you back, if you don't understand, that may just shake your confidence a bit. Right. So it's not important that you understand everything. Right. But whatever you understand, it should be in and out and thorough, and you should be proper. And don't be afraid to say that you don't understand this part.
Right.
That is again another thing that I do. I still do it. If I don't understand, I say it. Okay, I don't understand. A lot of time we think, oh, if we say this, we might sound silly. But again, like people say, there are no stupid questions. There are no silly questions. It applies everywhere. You don't understand, you say it. So I think that one skill, what I do, I should know in and out, is what I stuck to that. And of course, like you said, your knowledge, your soft skills always work. Right. Apart from your knowledge, your hard work and soft skills, they always work. They always help you grow better. Because then, if you don't have soft skills, you cannot interact and bond with people.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
Right. You need to interact with juniors, with seniors. I started with a company which was into core companies. So you had, when we went to sites, people from all this, class of society. So you should know how to interact with everybody. Right. Irrespective of where they came from.
Right. I get your point. That's an interesting and important point that you've made. Did you have any mentor in the early years who guided you, helped you, handheld you?
Again, I think it would be my father.
Okay.
My father, because one, I was working in his organization. And I had seen my father reach to a great height of success. So for me, he was my role model, right? He had done really well. And any doubt, any questions, if I had, I would always go up to him. And he would always, let me know what was expected, how I need to prepare, irrespective whether it was his subject or not. Right. He also introduced me to a lot of rights that I should have as a woman in the country. A lot of people talk about feminism and all that, but there are certain things. I was in a traveling job, going to campuses, so he always told me a few things. Like you should always stay in a good hotel. From this point of your safety and never compromise on that. Travel well, travel safe. And even if you have to perk up a little bit, that is the organization's responsibility towards you. Right. I think I did not, when I started, I thought, that was not my right. Right. That is something that he told me. And I then passed this on to my team that later came into. I said, never shy away from asking, a better hotel or better transportation if you don't feel safe. Or because that is what you're right. So I think my biggest mentor, even till today, is my dad. Yeah.
Okay. That's very nice to know. And having him in the same organization helps you in certain ways because he's seen it for a long, long time, longer than you.
Yes.
And can guide you at the right places. So yeah, that's very nice. Now that you've touched the topic of women in the industry, if you compare yourself to the men peers, how difficult was your life in the job? Were there any compromises that you had to make before marriage? I will come to the marriage bit later. But before marriage, did you think you had to make some compromises? Did you think your male peers got something easier than you, or was it just equal in your case?
No, I think in my case, I did not feel that pressure.
Okay.
All the organizations that I have worked with, I don't think so I have faced any discrimination. Like I said, I was one of the first HR recruiters to travel across, right? All the others were male members.
Right.
I never had nobody questioned why is she going, even though I was younger. Nobody questioned. Like I said, there was only one instance where they had doubts, but when they came with me, thankfully they were gone. So I never faced that issue. Of course, you see later in years, I had put a certain boundaries for me. I still don't want to work till 8 or 9 at night, right? So that is, I don't think so, is a compromise that I'm doing for my job.
Right.
That is something that I've chosen for myself. Yeah. So as far as a role or a job concerned, being a woman has not been a barrier to me.
Okay, that's very nice to know. and you were able to navigate without any barriers that many people may say, or that kind of is a stereotype information, which we'll definitely try to bust through these conversations with others. But yeah, good to know. I know that you're married and you have a daughter. How did marriage affect, or did it affect, let me put it that way, did it affect your career in any way?
Well, not really. Why I may say so is when I got married, both me and my husband were very clear that I'm going to work throughout. Well, the only way it affected was just after my marriage, he moved to another city.
Okay.
And I was in another city. So I did not move with him because I did not have a job in that other city. And I wanted to wait unless I get a job. So we were very clear on that. So there was no pressure. Only when I got a job, and that was after 6 months. So we stayed 6 months apart till I get my job and I moved. And even while I got pregnant, even after delivery, I continued with my job. The year I was pregnant, I got a promotion.
Oh, wow.
The year I delivered, the next year I traveled from India to UK, and I got into a job. I have thankfully not taken a break. Thanks to the support that I had, not only just from the family, but from the external as well. And I have not shied away from taking support, asking for it. And I think that has helped me, in the continuation of my job, and also the support the organization gave, right? They were always very open to provide with roles, with opportunities, both in India and in UK.
Right.
And very open for me to take and for them to provide.
Oh, okay. That's very nice that you did not have to take any back steps because of major milestone events in your life, and that's very nice. Has there been moments where you have switched your career or considered switching your career?
I did switch my career. It has been an up and down journey. So when I started, I was in HR, right? I was in a core company.
Okay.
And then after getting married, like I said, there was a gap of 6 months where I was in a different city and he was in a different city. My reason for not getting a job was that I wanted to get in an IT company. I was trying. Right?
Okay.
Pune, my husband moved to Pune, and Pune is an IT hub. But I was not getting a job because I did not have an IT experience.
Right.
So that was very tiresome. At the end of 6 months, I again got a job in a core company and in an IT company.
Okay.
Right. And my husband was part of that IT company as well. I chose IT company because then I thought this was an experience because of which I was not getting any further opportunities. Right. So I thought at that time, yes, IT was important, but I did not get in HR.
Okay.
I got into a different role within a project.
Okay.
Right. It was not a technical role. It was more of a demand supply bench manager role.
Okay.
But it again dealt with dealing with people, and which I thought I was fine. And so was the organization. They were happy to take me into that role.
Right.
And then I served that role for about 18 months and then moved to HR again.
Okay.
And I was there for 2 years. And when I came to UK, again, it started with the HR role.
Okay.
But again, I had to leave that. I had to move to a different role because here you had to have a certain degree in HR. Right? Because of the labor laws that comply here.
Right.
So I couldn't move into a core HR role. And my daughter being very small, I could not spare the time for another year of education.
Right.
I did not want to do that. I could not and I would not. I didn't want to do at that point of time.
Right.
So that is when, there was a shift.
Okay.
So I have done 2 major roles there. One was an immigration officer for Capgemini. And the other one was then moving to a client role.
Okay.
Where I became a PMO.
Okay.
Right. Immigration was completely different. I had no idea what the background was. I had to learn the laws. How you do it for a company.
Right.
Right. It involved a huge amount of money because a transaction you were doing on a daily basis for a number of employees, right? And anything goes wrong, anything gets stuck, it comes back to you because there was only one person in the immigration team, and that was me. So, and the rest of the team was in India, but in UK I was the only representative. So that was a big jump,
right? A
big leap of faith that the company also took on me,
right?
So. And again, but after some time, I moved to a technical role, again of a PMO where I did not have any idea of what is expected. The only thing I knew was I was dealing with people for the project. And I went on saying the same, that I don't have any knowledge of how you're functioning. But they said that they are open to have somebody who's eager to learn, and they're willing to try. So again, I was very lucky there to get the opportunity, and I took it with open hands.
Very nice. So one thing that is again coming across through these conversations is that you ask for help. If you don't know, you clearly say, I don't know this. Can you help? And people are always eager to help you around. And the interpersonal skills that you develop with the people around you also helps and favors you because it helps them to come forward and help you in such situation.
Yes, I always believe in this. There are people who are always willing to help.
Right.
You have to ask, but you should be willing to go and ask.
Right.
Be it in your personal life or be it in your professional life. Don't shy away. Maybe it may happen that one person may not be able to provide you with the help, but there would be somebody who would be able to help you in that situation.
Of course. That's an interesting insight. Now, let's fast forward a bit and bring you to your current work life. It's been how many? 18 years working?
I started in 2008. So, yeah.
17 years, roughly 17 years. So, yes, it's been a huge length of working career. How would you reflect on your career so far and the person that you've become now? How would you reflect the whole journey?
I think it has been a very fulfilling journey. Like I said, right, I've been part of very good organization, very good teams, and I have been given a lot of opportunities. I have thankfully not had any major blocker that would have put me as a setback to my career, right?
Okay.
I think the thing was that I was open to change as per what the time required, right?
Okay.
I may not be getting HR role. Okay, I'm open to learn something else. At the same time, the other person or the counter team was open to take that, provide me with that opportunity and have that open up. So it worked both ways, but it worked fine.
Yeah.
And today I've started working as a project manager,
right,
and as a Scrum Master again, which has no relation to what my base education, HR role, HR education starts with. So I think it has been very fulfilling. It has been full of learnings. So very happy to be where I am.
So do you believe that learning at every juncture is a very important part of any career?
Yes.
Especially your career?
No, I think it is for everybody at every stage.
Right.
The day you stop learning, you stop growing.
Right.
Even today, if you see, there are so many things that are there in the market which has come up. Gen AI being the newest thing. Everybody is talking about. Now, even I'm trying to learn that.
Right.
You have to learn. You don't have to master everything. But you should be aware of it, what it is, of how you could apply to that career. At least have that knowledge. Every organization provides you with that training, right? Go ahead and take that. Understand that. I am not a technical person. Even after spending so many years in IT company, I'm still not a technical master. If you ask me anything about the technicality of I will still fumble. But I understand how the whole function works. I understand, the basics. So you need to keep learning of everything that new product is coming. You at least need to know those. When you know those, you are able to navigate it better. Okay. So if you stop learning and if you're stuck on the point, I think it's a very volatile market right now. People hire and fire. So I think just keep learning, keep yourself updated.
Right. Yes. That's very, very important. So learning is definitely a daily task, if I may say. You learn every day, and it adds to your growth trajectory, isn't it?
Always.
Okay. What has been your biggest challenge in all the years that you have spent till now in the professional world?
I think my last few years, like I said, I come from an HR background. I'm not a technical person. So when I moved from a PMO to a project manager role, understanding the technical life cycle of a product that I was working on, the project, that is still tough.
Okay.
Right? There are a lot of norms, there are a lot of processes that you need to know.
Right.
And you should know that inside out. I still fumble in that. I still trying to learn and remember of how it flows, how the data goes from here to there.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to learn. That is tough. I find that challenging.
Okay. That's okay, because when we change careers, when we move into anything new, There's always a learning curve. What I can add to what your point here is how our attitude or our mindset to learn a new career path is what keeps us going. So yes, any day very soon you'll be like master of where you are. So I'm sure it will be fine. What's the most rewarding part of your profession? What gives you that fulfillment?
I think I'd worked in my first company for about 2.5 years. In the second one, 12 years. And in my recent company, it's been 3 years. I think the biggest is the kind of relationships that I have made.
Okay.
I think that really helps. See, everybody's there to work, right? If you are not able to perform, somebody else will help you get through that.
Right.
But for that person to step in, you need to have that relationship.
Right.
You need to build that. So I think the kind of relationships that I have built, and I think that is I would say my biggest strength that has been, and that is my biggest fulfillment. Because work, I've understood over 17 years that if you put in hard work, you learn things. But to succeed more, where you have a satisfaction as well, you need to build in that personal level interactions with your team or with your extended team members, wherever they are.
Okay.
So that brings the peace at the end of the day to your work.
And that's a very important point. Relationships do matter, and that's how you grow together.
Yes.
Isn't it? Do you think in all these years, had you stayed in one company throughout, okay, situations arose and you kind of switched from one company to another, but hypothetically, if you had continued in one company and compare that to switching 3 companies, like how do you see hypothetically what would have favored you more? Being in one company or switching in terms of growth, in terms of salary, in terms of learning exposure? How do you think they are different?
Okay, I'll come back to my dad first. My dad worked in the same company for last 35 years. Right?
Yeah.
He started with one company and he retired in the same.
Yeah.
And I have seen him work in multiple areas. There is not a part of the company that he has not worked and mastered.
Okay.
So I always understood from his working graph and career that you can learn anything and everything. You can be part of it. And my last company that I worked, right? I was there for 12 years. Again, I had the same experience.
Okay.
I went through multiple routes.
Okay.
There was never less of opportunity for me because of my location, my gender, or my knowledge.
Okay.
Right? I always got equal opportunities. Yes, I would say it does. The salary part, there sometimes it can impact because when you move from one company to another company, you always get, say, about a 30% high, 20%, which doesn't happen in your annual performance appraisals that you have. You won't get that. Nevertheless, so it depends upon of what you are aiming and how fast you are aiming. So for me, somewhere, because I was professionally very happy, personally very happy, and by the time I was there, my package was also good enough. I was pretty happy. So I wasn't too ambitious there. So I was. For me, being at the, like you said, work-life balance, maintaining that has been always important. My second company, and rather even the current one, provides me with that.
Oh, that's very nice. One interesting question. If you have to tell anything to your 20-year-old self, standing at your current age, what would you tell her?
Maybe I would have liked to learn a bit of computers, the coding language. Because that's where I have landed into, right? I understand, the coders, the developers, the testers. I hope I did that. I did have that option, but I never took that. Again, you can call it a mind blocker. I found it very tough. I still do. And like I said, my technicals, a lot of it comes from there as well. A lot of people who are doing that, they talk in the code language and they say, this is not working. And even if they show, I don't understand how the screen flips and work, right? So I hope I had learned that. Maybe that would have helped in my current profile and in the industry that I'm in.
Well, Swati, at 20, you didn't know your life or your career trajectory was going to take this route. So you were not ready for this. As life progresses, we learn, we grow, we take different paths. and your 20-year-old self wouldn't have known that you would be in a technical organization and you would need a little more technical knowledge than you already possess. So, yeah, it's all a part of learning and growth. What is your definition of success?
The definition of success for me is balance of my personal life and professional life. Of course, money plays a great role, there is no doubt. But I'm not over ambitious over that. If I am happy with what my work profile is, and if I'm able to devote an equal time to my family, I think that is what is satisfaction to me.
Wonderful. Next section. Now we have covered your before deciding the career, we have covered your college life, we have covered your initial life, and your life now with your career. Let's chill a bit and have a rapid fire round.
Yes.
Okay. One book that has influenced your career mindset?
None.
None? How do you derive motivation?
I think by looking at people around me. My biggest motivator was my dad, and he has been there. I have seen how his growth has been, and that came as a big motivation of where I wanted to be.
Okay.
My mother was very clear of how, even though she's a homemaker, she was very clear always that you have to keep working, keep growing. That always pushed me. And then, of course, my husband. He has done immensely well in his work. He, again, has always pushed me, supported me. So I think I take motivation more from people around me than others.
So you're a people's person.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing every student or young professional should know before choosing career.
There are no shortcuts. You need to work hard. You need to know what you're getting into, learn the subject well, but be open to changes that are around you.
Okay.
Don't hide away and don't shy away from asking.
Your career in one word.
Satisfied.
One life skill that's helped you the most in all your roles.
My soft skills, my ability to navigate through people.
Well, very nice. One moment in your career you'll never forget.
I think when I took the immigration role, that was a very challenging role. There was a lot of opposition because of the background that it came with, because of the knowledge that was required, and handling location-wide organization on that level. But thankfully, I had succeeded well. I think that was challenging. I had proven myself to the organization, to the team members, and it earned me a promotion as well.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah. What are your hobbies?
I love to dance.
Okay.
I love to chill, watch TV. I like to travel.
Okay.
So, yes.
What's your guilty pleasure after a long day of work?
Pani puri.
Oh, wow. That's my favorite as well. What's the most misunderstood thing about your profession?
Well, for the HR, if you talk about, well, everybody says HR doesn't do anything. So I always find that highly misunderstood and underrated.
I agree.
And I think that there is less of that in the current role of a project manager that I'm doing. People take it as that, oh, there's a lot to do.
Right.
So, yes.
Right. A quote or mantra you live by?
Work hard, there are no shortcuts.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the rapid fire round and also to the end of our conversation, which was very interesting. And I hope you enjoyed getting nostalgic about your whole career journey.
Yes, thank you for having me here, Lakshmi. It was indeed a very great conversation for me as well, living through all that I have worked through, being where I have, and how I have reached where I am. So thank you for making me go through all of those memories again.
You're very welcome. I sincerely thank Swati today for sharing her journey with such honesty. What shines through is not just her titles, HR professional, project manager, Scrum master, but the way she has walked her path with clarity and courage. At 15 or 16 years of age, she chose a road that matched her strengths, not the noise around her. In her HR years, she proved that success is less about fancy titles and more about preparation, building trust, and knowing when to ask for help. At just 23, she was leading campus recruitments across India, not because she knew everything, but because she was willing to learn and show up fully. And when life nudged her from HR to immigration, from IT demand to project management, she didn't resist change. She embraced it, even when it meant starting all over. That is her biggest gift to us, a reminder that careers are not linear, they are journeys of continuous learning. For all of us listening, whether you dream of HR or project management or any other path, Swati's story whispers a simple truth: know yourself, prepare deeply, keep learning, and balance your work with your life. Because work will always continue, but our strength comes from knowing when to pause, recharge, and begin again. Thank you for listening to Mummy Kahani Sunao and staying with us till the end. If you want to share your professional journey with us, please comment below or send an email to creationsofel@gmail.com. You can find this email in the description. We would be delighted to host you. Also, please remember to subscribe to our channel and share this video with someone who is on the brink of choosing a career path. If this helps even one child, my efforts are worth it. See you soon.